You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging out with you guys. We got another exciting episode that we are going to be bringing to you guys today. We have a really good friend of mine. We have Rich Clark with Billy Goat on the phone. Rich, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
I'm doing great, man. We are actually recording this live on Saturday. We just got done mowing for the week and coming in hot, landing the airplane here back at the studio, and going to be, banging out this podcast with you for a little while. Super excited about that. Awesome. If some of you guys know the name Rich, you guys probably know him working with Billy Goat. He was actually at our live event last year. It was super exciting having him come in, and he did a great job. He held his own on his presentation about aerations and overseeding, cleanups, debris loaders, hurricane blowers, all of this stuff. But Rich, you actually have a background in the industry. Like, you're one of us. Like, you actually owned your own business for, how long was that? 20 years, 30 years?
Oh, well, I've been in the business for over 24 years. And then I had my own lawn application company most recently for 7 years. And then I tried to get away from working for myself for a while before that even. And then and I worked for, had my own lawn and tree care company for a few years before that. And then I also worked for UMKC, and then also worked for a couple other people just managing their landscapes. And then, my whole life has been in the lawn care business.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Now, where are you based out of? You said, are you in Kansas City or Missouri or?
Absolutely. Well, I'm in Lee Summit, Missouri. And I've been living here for, like I said, 24 years. Started my career with a large lawn application company when I was in college, and then from there, that parlayed into my own business. And then from there, I tried to get away from working for myself, and then work for myself again. And then sold my business in 2017 to come work for Billy Goat.
Oh, wow!
Most recently.
Okay. Okay, man. Well, yeah, I've gotten to bump into you with, your career in Billy Goat moving forward. We've actually done a lot of fun videos and demos and debriefs.
Yeah.
What do you do for those guys currently, just to get these guys up to speed? Are you like the national sales manager, or what's your role again? I always forget.
Sure. No, I'm the national account manager for Billy Goat. So my job is to help out anywhere from, large national accounts all the way down to, the one-man operators, and make sure educate people on the Billy Goat product and just teach people how to profit and produce from our product. So that's what I do.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, you and I, we're really good buds. We actually get to talk about once a month or so, every 6 weeks. Yeah. And it's just cool. We actually had a really fun time too, because I think it was 2 years ago, we were at Jason Creels' live event, and So I had to duck out early, so I didn't stay the whole day, but you had to duck out early too. And it was funny because you were like, "Hey, dude, like, do you need a ride?" Do you remember this? And
yep. Oh yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll get a ride with you." I didn't know you from Adam, but I'm like, "You're going to the airport. I'm going to the airport, bro." And then what happened was, it was funny. Like, we both rode the same airplane back, and then it was like some crazy Midwest. Northeast snowstorm. They got like pummeled by a foot of snow. So if you guys know anything about like airplane, like logistics, like all those planes from the Northeast, then they go west, towards the evening, as the day goes on. And so the whole Northeast was like under what, like a blizzard, Rich, remember that? And
yeah. But you know what I remember? Go ahead.
Well, I was saying that was crazy, man. Like, the airports were like in Midway, Chicago, whatever that mid airport is, and
it's Midway.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've never seen so many people ever in my life. Like, the whole connection. Everybody was waiting for their connection, their final.
Yeah, I remember that.
Their final tour, and there was 20,000 people in this airport. I swear to God. And you and I got off the plane, and both of our flights out were supposed to be like in an hour, like at let's say 5 p.m. dude, I didn't leave that airport until like midnight that night. Remember? And so you and I, we got food, we hung out, we just chatted for like 3 hours, and
had a good time.
Yeah, so we got to know each other really well. There was like a nice little restaurant bar thing there, and we were just hanging out. And I just got to hear your whole story, man. So, well, what we want to do on this episode is talk to you a little bit more about aerations, overseeding, making money with leaf cleanups, debris loaders. It's actually really cool because we're going into that time of year, and this is like Rich's wheelhouse with Billy Goat. But then he's also a contractor too, for almost a decade in the industry with his own business. So it's cool hearing somebody talk like practical application. That's what I like on my content, So let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get the good old sip of water, as Paul Jameson always gives me crap. But so we're going to clear our throat, take a sip of water here, and actually just kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to bring you guys the show sponsors, the show notes, and all the relevant information that we got going on with the show.
Staying safe on the job is a priority for all of us. Hi, it's Mr. Producer. Our friends at Route 1 Industries have as their goal making sure that others can see you, especially when you're plowing snow or working after dark. As former professionals in the industry, they know what the needs of heavy haulers and snow removal specialists on the road are. And we cannot underestimate the importance of being visible to people out there on the road. Route 1 has the best LED products for affordable prices. Have you guys seen the new lights and set up on Brian's truck on YouTube? He got those professionally installed by Youssef and the team at Route1Industries.com. Special Brian's lawn maintenance packages are available, and of course, Brian's 10 saves you money on the starter, bullseye, and foreman light bundles. Now, a couple of install options for you. If you want to have them ship you the lights, you can install them on your own and save big. Now, if you're within, say, 6 to 8 hours max of Harvey, Illinois, go ahead and schedule an appointment with Youssef. Hotels nearby are cheap at $75 a night. You could spend the night the day before or after, get your truck done, and drive home. That is what Brian did. Visit Route1Industries.com and see the wide range of LED lights that will definitely fulfill your needs. What are you waiting for? Visit them at Route1Industries.com and remember to save big with Brian's 10.
Are you ready for GIE Plus Expo?
What?
Yes, GIE Plus Expo is coming to you now. It's GIEExpo2go.com, your new online connection to hundreds of new products, industry resources, and solutions to help you grow your business. GIE Expo to Go is packed with your favorite exhibitors' latest innovations, demo videos, event links, and more. Plus, you can set up your own My2Go show planner to gain exclusive access to show specials and discounts. Test yet? It's all free. So what are you waiting for? Go to GIEExpo2go.com and start exploring today.
Hey, is it just me, or did it sound like Keith Kalfas was in the background of the GIE spot we just heard?
What?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds just like Keith when he does some of his rants and his crazy voices. Of course, Keith's one of the speakers at the upcoming L'Entrepreneur Academy Live event. Hard to believe, less than a month away. It's November the 7th in Novi, Michigan. Details waiting on you right now, and just a handful of tickets left when you visit L'Entrepreneuracademy.com. And now, back to Brian Fullerton.
All right. Well, good deal, guys. Well, let's just jump right back into it here. So, Rich, let's go back to when you were running your own company. We'll kind of lay the groundwork here. What did you guys focus on? Were you like a mowing business, a landscaping business, or how did you even get started in the green industry? I guess that's probably a good question to ask first.
That's a great question. I got the bug, like many of us, just when I was in high school. My neighbor across the street had his own tree care company, and so he was my best friend's dad. And also my guidance counselor. So I worked with him doing tree care all the way through high school. And then in college, I worked for a landscape company. And I just got that bug. And, it's just something you love, and you start when you're young, and you're like, it's what you know, and then you grow to love it. You grow to love the people. So that's kind of how I started back. And that would have been in 1993 originally.
Wow.
And then
awesome.
I graduated high school in 94. So just to give you an idea, and then I've been in the landscape or lawn care industry ever since.
Wow.
And so from there, I then started work for a renowned lawn application company, nationwide now, actually, here in Kansas City. And I learned the ropes of the lawn application business, as well as learned the ropes of the tree care business more and more. And then after working for them, I then started my own lawn and tree care business specifically. And so I did tree care and then lawn mowing and lawn applications.
Okay.
And then I tried to get away from working for myself right after that. And I worked for a couple of different large properties and managed their properties for about 3 or 4 years. And I realized I wanted to work for myself again. So I worked for myself, except specifically I started doing lawn applications because I realized that, I'm more importantly than just doing work is profitability.
Right.
And with specifically with lawn applications, it's so profitable that I wanted to kind of focus on that. So I didn't have to work quite as hard. I can work a little smart too. So
yeah. How old were you back then when you were running your own business? Was it once or twice?
Twice, yeah. The first time I had a company called Clark Fine Pruning.
Okay.
And just did the tree pruning and then landscape maintenance as well as lawn maintenance and lawn care.
Gotcha.
And then I did that for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, about 5 years. And then 3 years after that, I worked for a couple of different properties, large properties here in Kansas City. And then after that, I then owned my own. I just did lawn applications specifically.
Gotcha.
And I did that until 2017. Until I came to work for Billia.
Nice. What?
Yeah. So
I was gonna say, which one did you enjoy more, the tree care arborist work or the treatments and the fertilizing?
Trees have always been my passion because I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, and anybody that climbs knows that you're hanging 90 feet in the air with a chainsaw in your hand, hanging from a rope. It's a little bit more fun than doing lawn applications.
Sure.
But, and it's very profitable too, but it's not a residual income like lawn applications are.
Sure.
You only prune a tree like once every 3 to 5 years instead of, every 6 weeks. So.
Right. So it's more like a sale, like do a job, get the check, do a job, get the check versus, mowing or fertilizing. Like it's, they're just repeat, regenerative income, if you will, so very,
that residual income is huge.
Yeah, that's huge. What was some of the craziest trees that you guys cut down? You guys hacked down some like 200-foot tall things, or did you have like a boom or a crane or a climber or what? Tell me a little bit more about that. We need to get some more tree guys on the show,
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, one of the best things I ever did for my personal career, by the way, just as a side note, is just becoming a certified arborist. What that does is that tells your client that you know what you're doing, and it's also with the International Society of Arboriculture. It also, helps you understand that you know what you know, and you're always working safe. So that's first and foremost. But secondly, the probably the biggest tree I ever took down was probably about 140, 150 foot cottonwood.
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
And it was off the corner of a house. And so, and we couldn't get a boom in. So that actually had to be climbed. And at the base, it was probably 6.5 feet in diameter.
Wow. No way.
Yeah.
That stuff is crazy. I always see those guys, like through like Portland, or Wyoming and Oregon and the west side of the country, right? The West Coast, and it's crazy to see some of these photos that these guys do. I mean, they're clearly in full PPE using these. The bar is like 24, 36, 48-inch chainsaws or whatever, just insane stuff, and I'm like, man, like these are loggers, and that stuff's always, it's always exciting to me. I don't know. I think chainsaws are fun, cool. I respect the heck out of them. We had Mark Parker over. We did a couple of videos on YouTube, and he's like just a local guy for me to help keep me educated and sharp. And we're shooting videos, we're having fun, and we're trying to explain, safety for you guys, but I'm also learning. I'm like, Mark's going through his spiel, and it's just a really good time listening in on chainsaw safety and best practices. But so what were you? You said you wanted to get the bug to go back working for yourself. Was it just like a lifestyle thing, or different seasons of your life where you wanted to have a more of a secure job, and then other times more flexibility with your own business? Or if you don't mind me pressing on that a little bit, because that was just it seems like a different story,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I enjoyed both. I enjoyed owning my own company, and I also enjoyed working for somebody else like I currently do now.
Sure.
And I would say it is more, in fact, different seasons of your life. First off, tree care is not something that you can do as an old man.
Right.
It just isn't.
It's a young man's game. Sure.
It is a young man's game. Same thing with lawn applications over time. And, the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to grow your business? And I had to, I'm currently 44. It was 2017 that I sold my business.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to ask myself, I had 350 lawn application customers, which, on a 6-week cycle is usually about enough, but it's a good number for one person to take care of. But once you get over that tipping point of, 350 to 400 customers, depending on the tightness of your route,
Mm-hmm.
You really probably should hire somebody.
That's what I've heard. About 350, 400. Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. And so then you have to, say, okay, I have to do 1.5 persons worth of work and before I hire that first person. And then I have to push a little harder. And the question is, my daughters, who are now 18 and 21, were about to go to college and, are now in college, both of them. And so I was like, do I want to, grow my business? Or, this opportunity came along with Billy Goat to be on the equipment side. So I'm still in the green industry,
sure,
still doing what I love, still working with people in the green industry in just a different way.
Yeah.
And so I just had to weigh the pros and cons. And I decided to go with Billy Goat because it's just a great company, great people to work with, great company culture. And so,
well, I like hanging out with you all the time. We see each other at events all the time, and you ever go to like a trade show or an event, and there's like people you look for, and I don't know about you guys, there's other people I avoid. Maybe that's just me being a butt.
Yeah, no.
We all got that. And, but there's times where I'm like, most of the time I want to go see Rich and see where he's at. And, Gail and Jeff is my, kind of like my regional rep, local guy.
Yep.
And he's a great dude. I saw him up at, Weingart's actually like a month ago. He just happened to be up there, and, he's like, Brian, when you buying a Hurricane? I'm like, maybe this fall, brother, maybe this fall, like legit. It's funny. Like you were just saying, like the older you get. Now I'm only 34. All right, guys, I'm not 54, but we've been starting to make a little bit more money with our lawn and landscape business, to be honest with you. We got our pricing right. It's been a very thankful, healthy 24 months. And I'm like, you know what, 10, 12 grand for a blower. Yeah. I could see both sides, but to me, the older I get, the more I'm like, look, I want fresh legs. I don't want to be, bending over with backpack blowers, 6 hours a day, 10 hours a day, blowing leaves. I've done that for 15 years, man. I have like put in my dues, if you will. And I still do. But I think the Hurricane blower is going to be something that we're going to be adding by the end of October here. So super, super excited about that. Question for you, if I can ask you.
Sure.
What's some takeaways that you'd hope people would learn as they go into arborist work or turf treatments, or like what's any like pearl of wisdom or any one tip that you would leave those guys if they wanted to branch into those two different silos of the industry? Because the both of them I don't really participate in, but any tips or guidance that you can give these guys if they want to go into either of those two categories?
Sure, absolutely. Tree care, we'll start with the tree care silo. Tree care number one, I mean, doing it from the time I was 15 to the time I was, 34, basically. You just safety.
Amen.
And you always have to be safe. The second you forget about, how dangerous tree care is, not to scare anybody away, but the second you forget is the second you're going to get hurt, and it's going to be bad. And so that's number one. Number two is do it if it's your passion, and learn everything you can from other people, get certified, and then put a plan together if you're going to get into that, and put a business plan together where you can leverage your current, let's say, mowing customers, or you can leverage your current lawn application customers, or your landscape customers, or whatever. So, that's number one. The other silo is the lawn application business. Is a lot of lawn mowers are afraid of getting into the lawn application business because they're like, ooh, chemicals. There's, it's controlled. It's,
licenses,
state licenses. It's really not that hard. First and foremost, talk to your local, whether it be, I'm in Missouri and Kansas, so you got the Missouri Department of Agriculture, you got the Kansas Department of Agriculture, go to their website. It's usually a matter of, literally reading a manual and taking the test, and understanding the different types of graphics, understanding the different. So put that plan together, and then look at your margins. One of the most important things with any business is understanding, how much, not just, what you're making, but what your profitability is. What's your margin? Because, you could be doing commercial mowing and averaging 8% margin. Well, would you rather do that same volume of work but average 35 or 40 or 50% margin, depending on how you run your business?
Sure.
Absolutely. So don't be afraid of it. Learn from other people. By far, feel free to contact me. Anybody can contact me anytime. I know, a lot of you have my phone number, so that's, my phone is always open. But, don't be afraid of it. Put a plan together, do it, leverage your current customers, and then, just really understand your margins. If you understand your margins, everybody would be getting into the lawn application business.
That's what I've always heard. We had, literally. Well, you were at our event last year, remember? And and we had Jason Creels. And I've said this many times on podcasts, but people, if you guys are new to the show, thanks for listening and thanks for joining with us. And it was funny because people are like, well, why is Jason Creels and why isn't Caleb Altman? And I said, well, because a lot of people want to graduate from the mow and blow guy, which is fine, to doing treatments. Like you said earlier, you can double down on that customer base, and then grow, a healthier division with higher profit margins. And that's Jason Creels' wheelhouse. And then also hardscaping. People love retaining walls and patios and all those outdoor living spaces. And why wouldn't you? Who doesn't like to relax and chill out off the backyard, off the back, patio?
Absolutely.
And so I think they're both no-brainer things to get into, especially as you grow your company. Maybe not the first year or two, but as you grow and you have that customer base, like you don't always need to get more customers. Sometimes you can go horizontal and offer more services and cross market versus just, man, I got to get 100 new customers. I'm like, well, why don't you offer one new service to 100 new people that you already have, and you can add $10,000-$50,000 a year in revenue. I wouldn't say like easily, but very simply, because it still takes work, Go ahead. You got a nugget?
I was going to say, there's also the flip side of that same coin, where you're like, we have a mowing business, where you do mowing and maintenance, and you don't want to get into the lawn application business, but somebody does is grow those symbiotic relationships. There's a lot of lawn application guys like myself who just did lawn applications. I had a different mower in each part of town that I gave all of my mowing business to.
Sure.
And I said, hey, you give me all of your lawn application business, and I'll refer all my mowing business that I get in that part of town.
Heck yeah.
And I usually had specific relationships with those specific areas, or maybe it's even 2 or 3 in a certain area. But grow those relationships with those lawn application guys that don't want to do mowing.
Yeah.
And it's all about growing your business or growing what you're good at. Do what you're good at and be better at what you're doing. So,
well, I forget what episode it was. It was last week with Paul with the Green Industry Podcast, and shout out to Paul. I know he always listens in, but he said the same.
Paul.
Yeah, what's up, Paul? He's over there. His mouth was full of water. He was taking a sip of Pellegrino, and so that's we call him Pinky Paul from now on. So he's gotta raise the teacup. He comes over to my house here, Rich, and he only drinks Pellegrino, no tap, no hose water. So I was like, Paul's falutin, So little inside joke there. Actually, at the time of this recording, Paul should have a special delivery at his house right about now. So anyway,
all right.
So when people are listening to this a week later, they'll know what the joke is already. But so anyway, funny story. Paul said the same thing on one of his podcasts. He said he got into turf treatments, but he was like just scatterbrained. He had so much going on with his business. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He knew what he didn't want to do, and he just was opting out of the chemicals and the fertilizer stuff. And it's funny, the same things he said was what I said, because I had worked at TruGreen for about a year, and I just didn't want to work with the chemicals and the smells, and I was just like, not for me. But I did exactly what you just said. My friend Mike Bedell, he's my subcontractor, and one of them, and he does great quality work for me. And he's not sending me any mowing because we're in different side of towns, but it's like, hey, if I can help my friends get rich, like, come on, like that's yeah. So we're double dipping as a friendship and a partnership, and it's awesome, man. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit more about leaf cleanups, debris loaders, leaf blowers. Guys, this isn't like sponsored by Billy Goat or anything like that. Like there's no back end deal here. Okay. Rich is a friend of mine. Like before we even started the podcast, he goes, man, it's just cool to like talk with friends. And I said, amen. And,
absolutely.
So let's do this. We're going to take a quick break again. We're going to get a sip of some Essentia water because Paul's got Pellegrino, on the company dime. So we're going to take a sip of water. I'm going to change it up here. Actually, I just got some pizza from Papa John's, and I got some of my Pepsi Cola. So Pepsi Cola is now the sponsor of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. But let's do this. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, and guys, we'll come right on back.
Brian is working hard on that beverage sponsorship, isn't he? Truth is, this portion of the show where Brian takes a sip of water brought to you by the Waterworks Department in Novi, Michigan, where the tagline is, hey, at least we're not Flint. By the way, isn't Flint where they bottle Perrier Dark? Or as Paul Jameson said the other day, Perrier. Speaking of Paul, he has just started his fall road tour, and Launchpreneur Academy is one of his show sponsors. And since I produced both of those shows, thank you, Brian, for your generosity, incredible generosity. And make sure, guys, to check out the Green Industry Podcast after you finish this show, which is going to return in just a moment.
Are you ready for GIE Plus Expo?
What?
Yes, GIE Plus Expo is coming to you now. It's GIEExpo2go.com, your new online connection to hundreds of new products, industry resources, and solutions to help you grow your business. GIE Expo to Go is packed with your favorite exhibitors' latest innovations, demo videos, event links, and more. Plus, you can set up your own My2Go show planner to gain exclusive access to show specials and discounts. Test yet? It's all free. So what are you waiting for? Go to GIEExpo2go.com and start exploring today.
It's the podcast for you who want to take your business and your life to the next level. It's Fullerton Unfiltered.
All right. Well, good deal, guys. Well, again, always thank you to Marty, Mr. Producer, for bringing the show to you guys 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. As Paul says, quarterback. He's my quarterback for the show. And, it's funny. The debates were just last week. And, I saw these memes pop up, Rich, and they were like,
oh, man,
they're like, take a sip and take a shot anytime candidate X says millions and billions. And then another one was, come on, man, And so after about 15 minutes, I don't drink, but if you drink, after about 15 minutes, you would have been, knocked off your rocker because it's too funny. So somebody's got to make a meme of like Paul and I with all of our funny statements like gobs and gobs and jokers and all this fun stuff. So we're and then I talk to other people like in passing, like, man, can you believe these jokers? I'm like, you listen to Paul's podcast, so
yeah,
I love it, man. But well, let's go to the Billy Goat stuff and what you're doing with them. So number one, if people do want to reach out to you're an industry resource for sure. You and I have become good buds. You've taught me a lot of stuff. I had you do training at our live event for a reason. You did a great job talking about aeration. So what's your bread and butter? How did you get started into aerations? And then if you want to just talk about cleanups and let these guys know where these are major profit centers for our businesses. So
absolutely.
Talk to them a little bit about aerations first, because I know that was a huge part of your previous company and something that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. As weird as it sounds, aeration is part of just a passion of mine. What I tell people is aerating is the closest thing you can get to printing money in the green industry.
Amen.
As long as you're bidding it correctly, it's huge. It's a short period of time, short window. That's actually how I got working for Billy Goat. I was using they're right in Lee Summit. I'm in Lee Summit. I started using their product in my business, and I liked it so much, specifically the AE 1300 in aerations.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, this is making me more money in less time. And so that's what I tell people with aerations is, number one, with aerations, a lot of times that's one of those things that you can, first off, it's one of those things that you can do where you don't have to do lawn applications, but you want to help out and you want to add something to your business portfolio. And so, understand how much it's going to cost and what it's going to do. And the fact that you have, especially in the Midwest and upper Midwest and Northeast, you have a very limited amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you don't lowball. Don't be that guy that's $35 and I'll mow your yard or I'll aerate your yard.
Mm-hmm.
That does anybody good. You're not going to make any money.
Right.
Generally, as a general rule of thumb, what I would tell people is for a heavy aeration, which is 2 passes with a drum aerator, you should be charging around, between $15 and $20 per thousand. That's not including your seed cost.
Mm-hmm.
So, once you add your seed costs, it depends if you're doing an overseeding, which would be, 5 pounds per thousand, generally with fescue or, whatever the case may be, you want to figure that in. But,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you want to look and see what your properties are. If you're a heavy urban, you want obviously a small, nimble aerator. We have a 2501, not to brag, but it's the simplest aerator on the block. And what I tell people is, don't believe me. Yes, I do sell it, but don't believe me. Just find out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out how it best profits and produces for your own company, and say, yeah, it absolutely does, or it doesn't. So if you have an urban area, you want to stick with like a 2501, hydraulic drive, reciprocating aerator, which a reciprocating aerator puts a minimum of twice as many holes as a drum aerator.
Mm.
So the advantage to that is you only have to go along one time instead of twice.
Mm.
Also, because it's hydro drive, you don't have to push it. You don't have to go up and down and up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
No chains. The big brother. Yeah, exactly. And the big brother to that one. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I say that's awesome because back when I used to work at True Green, it was a thing, dude. We'd go to the warehouse 6 a.m, and it was like when it was aeration month, like people would just people would run in there, dibs, they get the one that works, and then there'd always be one with like a wheel missing or like the chains were popped off, and it was up to you to fix them, man. Like people think you're a route manager. Like you want to go do your route, like go get your equipment. And there's the warehouse managers and all the supervisor managers, but come on, like you have to go, you can't wait on all these people all day. And man, I would be there like first dibs to get the nice aerator after I, got stuck with the crappy one. And I think we were using like some old like Lescos, some like the Ryan aerators, like the fours, the IVs,
Yeah, Lawn Air Force. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean they're good aerators. Don't get me wrong, but subject to breakdown, just like anything. And if you guys are ever trying to get into aerations, little plug, of course, we got the aeration overseed training course, but we have tons and tons of videos on how to do aerations and overseed for free. I mean, like how to do them on YouTube. Don't do the aeration for free, but we have the videos on YouTube for free. Some old ones that I did with Brandon and Bedell back in the day. And by the way, right now, because I get asked all the time, what's our prices? We do aerations $25 per thousand, $99 minimum, so $100. And an aeration is an overseeding is $50 per thousand. So usually for a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot subdivision lawn, that's about $199. In fact, literally today, so this would be a couple days ago as you guys are listening to this, but I just got another 50-pound bag of Lesco 50/50 sunshade mix, and that's the seed we're using for our area and our turf type. And we'll go bang out 2 aerations and overseed both. And that's like $600 in revenue. I have $120 into the seed, and it'll take me maybe an hour and a half, start to finish, for everything for the day. So making $400 or $500 in like 2-3 hours. And normally we have 10, 12, 15 of these lined up. These are just, we're going into the late fall, so a couple stragglers, but there's still time. If you guys are listening to this early October, you can probably do aerations to Rich. What's the professional opinion? End of October, maybe?
Well, it all depends on I deal with so many people all over the country. If you're up in the Northeast, like New York or North, definitely you want to cut them off probably, first week in October.
Sure.
With the Midwest, I'm in Kansas City, second week in October. You are pushing it a little bit up in Michigan. Yeah. The end of October, only because, if you get an early freeze and it stays cold and it stays, then you may have some issues. I generally like to allow 3 to 4 weeks for my seed to germinate and pop up before before the end of the season. The other thing is probably one of the biggest bits of nuggets that I could give anybody would be it's a team sport, both, not just lawn applications, but seeding. People don't know what they don't know. They're not going to bother looking it up. Is let them know, set expectations, not only set expectations, but also let them know specifically what you expect them out of them as far as watering, for, whether it be an out, if it's a pop-up versus a spray head, what kind of spray head is it? Tell them exactly how long to water and under what conditions. Make sure it's in writing. Make sure that they know in order to get the best results. And it makes you look good too, because it's the best lawn on the block. They're going to want to hire you because, their lawn looks better, but it looks better not just because you aerated and overseeded, but you communicated your expectations to them. And, ultimately they're going to be happier for it too.
Yeah, great tip. I really enjoyed, again, to go full circle to Paul's podcast, he was talking about when he does sod jobs, he's like, we don't just throw it on the sod and get a check and go. He's like, man, we leave detailed notes, details, instructions, like water, how much to water, all this stuff for the customer to get the actual result. Because once you leave that property, it's kind of like, it's a crapshoot, and so you got to tell those customers like, hey, if you want the best results, you just paid $300 for this, or, $4,000 for a sod job. Like, you gotta educate these customers for 10, 20 minutes. It's not just a flyby, because we got to deliver on results at the end of the day, and even as simple as an aeration, you got to do a good job, so, aeration, tons of money in that. And then let's go to the cleanup side. I think that's the exciting part. I just did an episode, maybe like 4 or 5 episodes before this. I said how to get started doing fall cleanups. It was just a high level, but it was really, really fun episode. And we talked a lot about equipment, but this is, I think one of the things that Billy Goat really shines on is debris loaders and leaf blowers for sure. So maybe the lay of the land. Did you guys do leaf cleanups back with either of your companies, or which one did you dabble with, or no?
So yeah, when I had my tree care company and my lawn mowing and maintenance company, I did do full cleanups. Okay. For a while, and that's mainly high volume residential. Mm-hmm. That's what I've focused on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What's the, can these guys, can you give the lay of the land, like money that they can make, revenue they can make? What were you guys doing back in the day? What kind of equipment were you guys using?
Sure. Well, back in the day, we didn't have stand-on blowers. Now we do.
Back in my day.
Backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, we walked in the snow up both ways. No. But we, back in my day, we, we did use backpacks, blowing out the beds. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a system, and that system depends on the type of clients you have. So, for high volume residential, you'll have one guy blowing out behind the shrubs, in the beds out to the yard, and then either blowing it with a blower or mower out to the street, and then you take your debris loader that's hooked up to either your trailer or the back of your truck, and you go along the street and you clean up. During the fall, what we would do is I had 2 guys that worked for me in the fall doing fall cleanups, and we would have one crew start ahead and blow and push everything out, and then the other guy would come back with the debris loader, and he would then suck up and clean up while the other 2 guys would basically hopscotch or frog leap in front of the other, so that then they'd go to the next property. The whole point is to be as efficient as possible, right? And with the stand-on blower, a lot of people go, "Wow, that's $10,000 or $12,000 for a stand-on blower." But if you have a 4-man crew and you're doing, you have quite a few commercials or large properties, and all of a sudden you can move those leaves, and save an hour or 2, per day on a 4-man crew. Well, if it's an hour on a 4-man crew, that's 4 man hours. That's a lot. If you think about that and use it on your commercial mowing properties, and you're saving an hour, that's the same thing. So, right. The thing is to figure out what works best for you. Definitely the pedestrian blowers do push harder than a backpack blower, but you're talking 13 or 14 horse motor, and walk behind and pushes those leaves out faster.
What's the
So,
what's the F14, F18? I get a lot of questions about those, like the self-propelled and then the non-self-propelled, and then then there's like the larger one. So what's the can you help me explain like the breakdown to these guys and maybe educate them if you can, from Billy Goat, from like the F11, the 13, and the 18, or 14 and 18. Who are they for, and which guy, and when should people go with the next one up that's maybe self-propelled or larger?
Sure. For your small to medium properties, you definitely want to hit. I personally like the F14, which is the 14 horse blower with the Briggs and Stratton engine. Actually, I like it better than the Honda personally.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to the medium and large properties, you go then from a walk behind to a self-propelled. If you have like a long homeowners association, you definitely want to go with a self-propelled, especially if you're having to go uphill or downhill. You're not having to push that thing out.
Yeah.
And then from, and that you want to go probably with a F14, F18, which is an 18 horse, and then you jump up from an 18 horse up to a 35 horse, which is our Z stand-on blower. And, if you have a lot of, HOAs, large properties, commercial properties,
mm-hmm.
Then you want to look at that. But it's all about, making more money in less time. I'm not interested in selling anything. What I'm interested in helping people with individual needs is saying, how can we make you more profitable in less time? So,
yeah,
if it's the X, if you have a bunch of small urban properties, you don't want a stand-on blower, obviously.
Yeah,
you may not even want a walk-behind blower. You may just want a backpack.
Look,
and so,
can I ask you about this? It might be a curveball here, but what about like Little Wonder? Sure. I know they make some great units out there too. A lot of guys love their Little Wonders. Is any comparison, or are they one's orange, one's white? Can you speak to that? If maybe just educate guys on what's the difference? Because I'm personally wondering that question. I know other people are going to wonder that
sure.
one.
Absolutely. Well, they're first off the outside. They're not steel. It's actually a poly housing. Think of your helmet when you play football. So you can drop it off the back of the truck, and it's not going to bend. The Little Wonder, if you drop it off the back of the truck, it's going to bend that housing, and it's going to get into the impeller. The second thing is the impeller itself. We have an enclosed impeller with 16 blades, and theirs is 4 blades, and so it's a lot. You get a lot more push for your money. The other thing is, because we have the cone at the end, you're actually getting more Newton force than CFM. Like, you get those, pardon my French, they got those big ass fans, on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Those push out a massive amount of CFM, but not much Newton force. If you have more force, you're going to push out more blowers. So there's a lot of differences between the two. And then also being that they're poly instead of steel, is that they're lighter to push. So you're not as fatigued at the end of the day. And that's what Billy Goat's about, really. In a lot of our products, like the 2501 stand-on blowers, it's about making a tough job or job at the pain in the butt a lot easier.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
No, that's good. And I'm not trying to put down Little Wonder by any means. Like I'm just curious, because I know. Yeah, they're just totally different brands, and but still a really good product. A lot of you guys have the Little Wonders and little 9 and 13 horse things, and you see those everywhere. Just like the Billy Goats on soccer fields and baseball diamonds, just clearing the path. Hey, one thing, Rich, that I was going to mention was I was hanging out with the U-mount guys yesterday, and I said who should pick this up and purchase this thing? I said, Billy Goat, man. If those conversations already aren't happening, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, like he was telling me it's $3,100 and about 3,100 CFM or somewhere in between, the walk behind units and the Hurricane. And I was like, I'm like, dude, a company that would really round out their portfolio, and he was like, yeah, he's like, anybody there? I'm like, I know a couple people there. So I was laughing with the guy Jerry, and I said, if you guys sell, don't forget my 1%. You know what I'm saying? Like here I am being a business broker. But have you seen those things before, the U-mounts?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good unit, and I kind of like them. The interesting thing is, if you look at the housing on that, so it'll look very familiar.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I got to say.
That's awesome. There you go. Right. I shot a video with those guys. They were like all over the east side of the state and over Metro, Detroit. And man, I was like meeting with 3 different companies, coaching calls, conference calls. Then I had like a 3-hour meeting with my architect for a house as we're getting our plans all together. And then they're like, hey, dude, like, we're going to be in like Farmington, Michigan. Do you know where that's at? And I'm like, that's literally 7 minutes from my house. And they're on the west side of the state. So it's 2 hours plus away, you know? And they're like, any chance that we could do a video or like, you know, sponsor some content or just get on the gram? I'm like, sure. You know, and they have a great product. I'm glad I did the opportunity because they were just amazing guys. Jerry and then his cousin who's working with the company, Dylan, great guys. But I was so busy and I look at Liz, I'm like, I should not even be saying yes, but that's what I do. I'm a nice guy. I overextend just like a lot of you guys do. But it was really, really cool seeing that unit in person. And I don't know, we got to get that thing to the Billy Goat family rich and painted orange and call it a day, you know? So
yeah, Lord knows we've talked about it, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, good stuff, man. Look, I'm trying to help everybody grow. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
I love it. Well, let's talk about the last thing I want to talk about is the hurricane and the debris loader. The guys again. This isn't a big plug for Billy Goat, but this is stuff that I'm excited about, and a lot of you guys are doing leaf cleanups. Can we just be honest? Like we got to make money, dude. So with who's the hurricane for? Who's it not for? And then debris loaders, who are they for? Who are they not for? Where can people start? So I'll let you tackle both of those.
Sure. Let's start with the hurricane. That's a little easier because the hurricane is probably not for a one-man company where you have to get on the unit, blow everything off. Unless you have a lot, unless you just want to do it by yourself. If you have a 2-man crew, you're good. But if you're a 1-man and a machine, it's tough. It's tough to do that. If you're going to do that, I would probably recommend that you use your mower as much as possible, and then get a debris loader, to work as efficiently as possible. Because that's what it's all about, is efficiency. So, who it is for is, I'd say 2-man and above. I know a guy that who had a 4-man crew, and he told me that he sent the stand-on blower out for on their first day, and the guys came back 2 hours early. And he looked at his watch. He's like, "What are you guys doing back already?" And they're like, "Well, we're done." They're like, "No, you're not. You've done the same property for the past 5 years. You've never come back this early." So he took his crew leader out, and sure enough, it was clean because it's all about efficiency. The crew leader was able to then go at 11 miles an hour down the sidewalk of an apartment complex, rather, check all the trimmer misses, go back to his guy and say, "Hey, you missed these trimmer misses," and go back to blowing at the same time, or at a faster, rate. Same thing with when you're blowing, a big, whether it be apartment complex or a
university or parking lots,
university or company, So that's definitely municipalities, colleges, anybody who's got, a big HOA or a big apartment complex or, just a lot of large properties. That's who it is for. Who it isn't for probably would be obviously the smaller urban properties, even smaller suburban, probably not a good idea.
I was gonna chime in because the appeal to me is a lot of my subdivisions back up the wood lines. So we always have to bag that stuff and haul it with us. And I'm like, man, if like the wood lines are like 50 feet away. Now I'm not gonna blow a yard of leaves, 50 feet with a mower or a blower. Like you can do the shimmy with the mower, keep pointing it one direction. We've all done it towards the wood line, but that takes forever and the lawn looks like crap because you just go-karted all over it, But if I had a hurricane, I could absolutely blow that thing out, in the back, and there would be less debris we got to take with us.
Exactly.
And so I could see it like saving money on dump fees, but then making money on productivity. And I more than likely I'm going to pick one up. I told Ted It's funny because my guys at Weingart, they always laugh. They always give me crap. They're like, man, Fullerton, you ever gonna buy anything ever again? You get all these hookups, man. I'm like, dude, I buy stuff all the time. Shut up. And so Ted, my sales guy Ted, he's like, Fullerton. He goes, he doesn't even take my call anymore. He's like, I'm not talking to you. I go in there, he doesn't even pay me any mind. I'm like, Ted, can I get some service around here? I ring the bell. He's like, go away. But we're all buds and stuff, and it's really really funny. But I told Ted, I go, hey, I need you. He goes, what do you got for free coming that you want me to load into your car for you? And he gives me crap. And I'm like, no, dude, shut up, man. Like, I want to buy a Hurricane. He's like, oh yeah. He goes, at what discounted rate? What back end deal did you work here? I go, dude, I'm like, I don't get back end deals, bro. I'm like, I'm going to buy one. He's like, yeah. What? He's like, what? He's like, I'm like, yeah, I want to buy one. I'm like, I still buy my own equipment half the time, more than half the time. He goes, you want to buy something? And he like perks up, and that's Ted's love language, man, making sales,
Yeah.
But Ted and Aaron and Alex and James, those guys are hilarious, man. We all like to cut up.
They're great guys.
Yeah, we love to cut up and have a good time. Curious, we get a lot of different people listening in. So it's not just for folks that want to do like leaf cleanups. Like a lot of people have this misconception that unit's only gonna work for 4 weeks in the spring and 4 weeks in the fall. Like, dude, if you're doing like mulch cleanup, or if you're doing tree removal and you got, mulch and bark all over the place and, tree debris, you're doing cleanups, parking lots, pathways. There's a guy that literally commented on my Instagram who has one, and he's like, dude, my Hurricane is with us 24/7 in the rig. 24/7 every day. Yeah. And I'm like, really? Yeah. And he left like 2 good paragraphs. And I always appreciate that 2-way communication. And he goes, yeah, dude, he goes, I'll have a guy throw a leaf blower on his back, and then he'll blow the whole driveway and the road in with the Hurricane, when you get a batch of 3 lawns, and then, jump off, park it, jump off, use the backpack blower. 'Cause you can do the stand down blower thing with, and so he'll tag up the sidewalks or, by the front door with the little porch.
The patios.
Yeah. And, he's like, man, this thing cuts down all of our time, like insane. So it's not, that's something that I want to evaluate and put through the ringer, because, anytime we can do like less walking, or, anytime we can mechanize something, as Caleb Allman says, I'm all about that life. And then one thing that I really enjoyed, when I did a demo with you guys last year, spring, was, once we got done with snow removal, believe it or not, like, all that snow and the salt and the rock, is in the corners of the parking lots. So we were vacuuming. We were blowing all of the rock and the sand and the debris on all my lots. And I was like, dude, this thing is huge. It was huge. It was just a way to like take it up a notch, a little bit more, white glove service for my customers. And,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, instead of like spending hours in like this huge leaf, or, dust plume, I was able to just knock that out with the Hurricane in like 20 minutes. And, so I'm pretty convinced. The wife said no, but I said, trump card. I said, you're not out there when it's 40 degrees out though. And she's like, yeah, fair enough. So,
it's huge in the paving business. I mean,
sure.
Just like you said, like, when you're cleaning up sand after the snow season, it's massive in the
asphalt guys.
Asphalt guys, cause they got to clean out they have to clean off every single crack, and then they have to clean off every single parking lot that they do. And if you have a parking lot that's, let's say 2 acres, and you can blow it off in, 15 minutes instead of, a pedestrian blower, which, like, let's say an F-18, right? That's going to do a good job. That's going to do a great job. But, it's going to take you 30 to 45 minutes. On a 4-man crew, that's huge, especially when they're standing around waiting to put the asphalt down, or when they're waiting to, help out or something. So it's definitely a unit that can be used, all year round, not just leaf season. I'm not convincing you guys. If you guys are listening, I'm convincing me, because I'm like, man, the older I get, the more I want to just smart.
I just want to continue to work smart. And I told Rob, my employer Rob, I said, dude, I don't mind doing leaf cleanups, man. Like I thoroughly enjoy doing leaf cleanups. Leaf cleanups, here's the asterisk, right? Leaf cleanups are fun when you have the right equipment. Like when you're tarping things and just raking leaves. I've been there. I had been there for so many years, like just trying to figure out how to haul the material away and just these bottlenecks. And then I'd make a little bit more money, reinvest, and we'd get rid of one bottleneck. And then we would get rid of another bottleneck. And, it'd take 2, 3, 4 years sometimes. I mean, it took money,
Yeah.
But now, like when you get this thing hitting on all 8 cylinders, I'm like, dude, we could do 15, 20 grand in November doing leaf cleanups. And I want to, because we lost like 20 grand in the spring from being closed down. But I'm not going to make excuses like, dude, let's make it up with leaf cleanups. And I got 1,500 postcards coming in, Rich, and we're going to be, passing them out and trying to get new business, new customers. And a lot of guys this time of the year, they're tired, and who isn't tired? I mean, I'm tired of this year, but 2020 has been a year. But I'm trying to get that second wind, and I'm like, if I just work hard for 4 more weeks, it's going to make the next 4 more months that much more easy, enjoyable, pad the bank account a little bit more. So anyway, that's where I come from. I'm like, well, now's the time to crank it up. And just because you see the finish line, don't slow down. Like, let's speed up. That's my attitude.
Yeah.
So, last thing, debris loaders, man. This is something that I'm not overly familiar with. My friend Bedell has one. That thing's a tank. I don't know what unit he's got. Maybe a 25 horsepower thing. But what's a debris loader? Is it something for everybody? Where do these come into play when guys are trying to grow their crew and their rig?
Sure. So debris loaders are if you have a lawn care company and you are in the business of cleaning up leaves and debris, that it will help you a ton. Like Brian said, when you're blowing, you're blowing the leaves off, you're blowing them onto the tarp. That's the old school way. Blowing them onto the tarp and then putting them onto your trailer, and then your trailer fills up, you got to get your mowers on your trailer or the back of your truck, or, it just saves that labor. You're able to blow those leaves maybe sometimes you do put them onto a target that's in the backyard, and then you just throw them right by the street and then suck it all up. It's, it not only sucks them up, but it reduces that litter by, about 15 to 20 times. So you're really, packing those in. It's throwing it to the back of the truck, or some people put it on their trailer and it throws it to the back of the trailer, but it allows you to get more product or more leaves on your truck or trailer, so you don't have to go back and forth to dump quite as often. You may only have to go maybe once every couple of days. And if you think about that time, that windshield time with 2 guys or 3 guys, and you're having to, stop with your trailer or send one guy off while you finish up the job, and then he comes back and then you finish up the job because you run out of space. Also, safety-wise, when you start putting lots and lots of leaves on your trailer, or your truck, I see a lot of guys put them on their trailer, then they push their mower up to the leaves, or they blow onto the hot muffler. I've seen fires start that way. I've seen, some bad stuff happen. But it's all about, increasing your efficiency. So if you can buy the proper blower, whether it be a backpack for small yards or a stand-on for large commercials. And then also, if you're a small operator, if you can work with other mowing companies and say, hey, let's do all of our cleanups. Let's work together. I see a lot of guys doing that, but for the bigger companies, obviously, you'd have enough business to keep your debris loader busy all fall, so it's pretty much for everybody. If you have leaves or it's something you need to suck up, and the crazy thing is it will not only suck up leaves, but we used to do pumpkins. Like we used to, as a demonstration, we used to actually take small pumpkins and suck up our pumpkins with a debris loader.
Wow.
Yeah.
We need to get a demo. We'll do that for, you want to get some views on YouTube. That's what we'll do, right? Have some fun.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have, so it's funny. I don't know if I'm going to do it this year, because if I do the Billy Goat Z3K, that's like 12 grand right off the top. But I'm still growing my company. A lot of people think I'm like done. I'm like, dude, I can still grow the top line and the bottom line, and we're always trying to become more efficient. Well, on my SureTrack trailer, I've got that extended tongue, so I could probably throw a 13 or 18 horse debris loader on the neck, right in between.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's something that I'm evaluating, because I am going to add the double boards to my dump insert. And then, it's got the tarp and the netting, the mesh tarp that I can, wrap all that up with anyway. And then on the back side, there's that swing tube that's going to come from the leaf loader, the debris loader.
Yep.
And then I can put like a piece of plywood or, a small wall on that back side and go from, hauling away 2-3 yards of leaves to 4 or 5, maybe. And I mean, the cool thing is the dump for me is like 7 minutes down the road. It's like super, super convenient. And so that's something I'm like evaluating. How much are the debris loaders? Like a 13 horsepower, the 18 horsepower, like the all contained unit, and then like the ones that are on an axle, they got the tires and you tow behind. What's the price point? While we got you, let's just talk about it.
Sure. So they go, all the way down, as low as, $1,100, $1,200 actually, I think, all the way up to we have a 37 horse EFI, on a trailer, for, close to 8,000.
Okay. Cool.
And so they're direct drive, and I tell you what, they are a time saver, and they're a labor saver.
Mm-hmm.
And while I got you, we do have a special. You mentioned the Z3000 and the and the debris loader, and we have a deal right now going on with Billy Goat through any of your local dealers through Sheffield that you get 10% off any combo deal of debris loader and stand-on blower Z3000. So
really,
just keep that in mind if you are thinking about it. Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Shut up, dude. You just saying that? Really?
Really?
God,
I'm not saying that. The shameless plug, I know, but
yeah, no. Well, hold on. We're going to talk about a little national sales event, Mr. National Sales Account Manager.
Sure.
So what if I did like an 18? This is totally unscripted, by the way, guys. Like this is just kind of fun.
Yeah.
So if I did like that 18 horse unit that I can mount on the tongue, and then a Z3K, does that qualify, or how does that work?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Now, do I have to finance it through Sheffield, or can I just get like the 10% off through Billy Goat?
I'm pretty sure you'd have to finance it through Sheffield.
Oh, dang it. All right. Well, I mean, we got some stout credit through them. So, but if I buy one for $12,000, and how much do you think that 18 horsepower debris loader is that I can put on the tongue? Like 2-3.
Don't quote me on that, because I'm sitting in the extra bedroom. Of my house, so I don't have the price in front of it. But for the 18 horse, I do believe it was
$2,000-$4,000.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's 20 something.
Really? Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's not too bad. No, they're real reasonably priced.
Wait a minute. So I mean, if I spend $12,000 and $3,000, that's $1,500 if I just finance it and pay it off a month later, right?
Yep.
Really? Interesting. Yep. Well, I mean, I already got
and there's special financing. There's 1, 2, 3, 5, 1.9, 2.9, 3.9% financing. So there's really, really good, really good programs right now. So if you're thinking about buying, now's the time to buy, because you can really save yourself some money, and basically it'll pay for itself. Yeah. This year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, now, dang it. Now I got to go back to the drawing board, because I was like, I was telling the wife, I'm like, man, $12,000, that's okay, but $14,000, no way. Now I'm going to be like, what do you think about, this and the debris loader? And she's going to be like, whatever. Yeah. Dude. She's like, she doesn't care. She's like, I know you'll make money with it, but I want to invest, make it easier on me, make it easier on my employees, and spring and fall. And I mean, those things will last me 10 years being a, smaller business, So, dang, that's what's up. Well, sorry guys, we're kind of game planning my business model live with you, So
I'll help you come up there and set it up for you.
Yeah, dude, for sure, man. Well,
I need a reason to go up there.
Yeah, well, Launchpreneur Academy, dude, November 7th, right? You're going to come up here.
I'll be there. I'll be at Launchpreneur. Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Billy Goat
Looking forward to it.
No, for sure. Well, we appreciate Billy Goat is actually getting behind it again. They were there last year, and Billy Goat's just a really nice company, really good people through and through. I mean, if you guys ever go to GIE, stop in their booth, tell them Brian's Lawn Maintenance sent you. Look for Rich; he's going to be there, as usual, and it's awesome, man. But that's at an hour, dude. Believe it or not.
Wow, that went quick.
We're nerds. Yeah, I know. I always tell people it's like a time warp, and we're just talking about lawnmowers and leaf blowers, But what if people want to reach out and learn more about Billy Goat, or even they just want to pick your brain as like an industry resource, where can they find Billy Goat, and then where can they find you, maybe on Instagram or something like that?
Sure. Billy Goat is just www.billygoat.com. On Instagram, it's at Tree Jockey, and I've had it for a long time because I love climbing trees. So, it's just at Tree Jockey, and then my email is clark.rich@billygoat.com.
clark.rich@billygoat.com. Awesome, man. Yep. Any last pearls of wisdom you want to leave these guys? But if not, so genuinely, thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday afternoon, believe it or not, guys. And
thanks for having me. I love it.
This I do for sure. You and I talk like once a month anyway, bro. But
absolutely.
I wanted to get you on the show. But anything you want to leave these guys really quick, Billy Goat or self-employed wise, or anything from the industry, or anything you want to leave them?
Just work your plan and plan your work. If you don't have a plan, whether it be equipment, whether it be, pay attention to your bottom line, pay attention to your numbers. And I know you're talking about like LMM software, definitely look at a good software, whether it be that or another brand, and pay attention to those numbers, because that'll make you or break you.
I love it, man. All right, guys. Well, Rich Clark from Billy Goat and Tree Jockey on Instagram. We super appreciate him jumping on the show with us. Rich, so much. Thanks so much for the time. And
thank you.
Absolutely, brother. All right, guys. Well, let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer. And guys, that's it for this episode of Fullerton Unfiltered.
I learned a ton on today's show. Trust that you did as well. Hi, it's Mr. Producer. One of the new programs that just has us super stoked at Launchpreneur Academy is Brian's new postcard training program. There's going to be a total of 4 individual programs. Plus, we'll bundle them all together so that you can get all 4 postcard designs at over a 20% savings. Now, these individual templates and designs, they're $75 each. If you're looking to grow your fall cleanup or snow removal business, then the fall cleanup postcard and winter themed postcards can help you do just that. Each one of the postcards designed, to help you grow customers and bring in new revenue. Who doesn't want to do that heading into the holidays? So keep checking launchpreneuracademy.com, as that program's going to launch any hour now. And we want you to be one of the first to grab it and start making all that money that, your wife's going to be very happy about when it comes time to doing a little Christmas shopping. More details about the program in future episodes. So y'all come back now, you hear?
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.